Hey guys, welcome to Becca Scoops. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday or whatever day it is that you're watching this. It's Tuesday for me, so welcome. Glad that you could be here with me. If you're new to my channel, we do a variety of things here, but mostly we've been focusing on the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, and that is kind of brings me to this video, this kind of impromptu video. So it's not going to be super long, but I want to focus on a few things from our last live that I didn't get in that's going to kind of segue into the live I'm going to be having on Thursday. Why? Well, we're focusing on the motive right now. Like I said on my last live, a few of the things are two things that are the most important to bring new evidence to the public has to do with why Gypsy was in the wheelchair, which we addressed on the live stream. And the biggest thing is the motive, right? Because Gypsy got a sweetheart of a plea deal because of what was called mitigating circumstances. And so I'm going to cover a little bit of that in this video, but I'm going to end all of that coverage in the live stream because it needs a wider discussion. Also, I'll have some announcements at the end of this video, so you're not going to want to miss that. And yeah, you're not going to want to miss those announcements. And before we get to the serious stuff in this video, something happened in the Gypsy Rose Blanchard cultural aspects of the case, which means all these different characters that surround her. So if you're interested in this, settle in, get your beverage, get your popcorn. My Keekins, my little kitty, isn't here. She usually sits right about here. She's downstairs right now. She might make an appearance. But get your comfort animal of choice and spend a little time with me. Okay, so what is the kind of like cultural aspect that went on? Well, my last video, I also talked about Gypsy's half sister Mia Blanchard, who is getting married. She got engaged. That was kind of a deal that had to do with Gypsy. But Mia came out with a video today with her and her fiance making some proclamations about their 2027 wedding, which a lot of people think maybe was kind of directed at Gypsy. I don't know. I'm not going to take it that far, but I thought it would be interesting for you guys to take a look. So let me go ahead and bring that video up.
I'm going with a band. We're using the DJ instead. We think it's just going to be easier for us, and that's what works.
Yeah, the band was like way too expensive. It was like 12 grand. And I'm like, I'm not paying that for a band when I
Hold
could
on.
spend at our
Hold on, I got to back it up. All right, that started at a weird point. Here we go.
At our 2027 wedding. At our things that we will not be doing at our 2027 wedding.
Number one, we're not going with a band. We're using the DJ instead. We think it's just going to be easier for us, and that's what works.
Yeah, the band was like way too expensive. It was like 12 grand. And I'm like, I'm not paying that for a band when I could spend my money elsewhere. And DJ is just a good time, and I think my favorite weddings were with DJs.
Okay, for those of you that are new, or for those of you that need a refresher, of course, this is Gypsy's half sister Mia. She's about 9.5 years younger than Gypsy, and that is her obvious fiance. His name is Andre. They just moved to Florida. So they've moved away from Louisiana and they are getting ready to get married. And these are the things that are going to happen at their wedding. They're kind of laying down the law.
Number two, we will not have assigned seating. I don't care where you sit. Like, I don't want everybody waiting on us to eat. I don't want, like, just eat, do whatever you want, get a drink, dance. Like, I don't really care, truthfully.
We're also not having a first look. We just want that moment to be special at the altar when we see each other for the first time. So we want everybody else to sit on our faces as well.
That's Andre's choice, too. No phones at the ceremony. I'm paying for a photographer and a videographer. Like, don't have your phone up in those pictures. Like, let them do their job. That's what they're here for.
Now you may wonder, why am I laughing about that? Well, there's some comments that were made that this was definitely directed at Gypsy, her half sister, because during the engagement photos, or the engagement happening, Andre was trying to surprise Mia at the time, and supposedly they were going. The story told to Mia was that they were going to see Andre's family to take family pictures. Mia kind of thought maybe it was going to happen, but still, it was supposed to be a surprise. There were rumors that Gypsy wasn't invited. And at the last minute, Rod said, "Hey, she's family. We need to invite her." And so Gypsy shows up. And of course, Gypsy uses her own cell phone to capture pictures. One or few are, as I kind of remember it, I think Gypsy posted stuff on the internet before her sister could announce the engagement. And a lot of people thought it was done intentionally and or in bad taste, or that Gypsy was trying to get the limelight away from Mia. Those were the rumors. Okay. So why I was chuckling is Gypsy, if she is invited to this, which I think she probably will be, it would be weird if she wasn't. What the bigger question is will she be a bridesmaid? I don't know. To me, I don't know. I could go either way with that, because Mia spent most of her growing up years without Gypsy, and she had a lot of high school and college friends, is what I understand. So I don't know. But is this directed at Gypsy? Like, nope, you will not be able to bring your cell phone and start posting on social media before I can post anything myself. I don't know. That's why I was chuckling.
I want everybody to enjoy the moment and just be there with us and have all the feelings.
We also are not saying our vows in public. We're going to say them in private in the morning of. Just going to be a moment between the two of us.
We're not doing a garter toss. I do not want Andre coming up underneath my dress in front of all our friends and family. That's just a little weird to me. So no, thank you.
And we're also not going to choreograph our first dance. We want it to just be natural, let it flow a little bit, and show off our dance moves.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just, no offense if you do this at all, I just like a very genuine dance. Nothing that looks like staged or just very performative. Just spin me once or twice and I'm good, truthfully. And lastly, we will not be having any kids at our wedding. Love your kids, love you, but no kids. I want all the parents, I want everybody to be able to enjoy this themselves and like let loose and not have to worry if their kids are running around, crying, falling. Like, I just want everybody to have a good time.
Yep.
That's it. Let us know if you want a part 2.
Let us know if you want a part 2. Now, I think this is smart on their part. Weddings are expensive. I think I'm thinking she's making money on TikTok. I don't know. So she's been doing more TikToks recently, probably going, "Hey, we need extra money." I don't know. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Nothing wrong with that. So that's that. So is that going to piss off Gypsy? I don't know. Gypsy is still MIA from TikTok. Her account is gone. Ken's account is gone. For those of you that don't know, Gypsy Rose's account has been deactivated. Ken account is also, I guess, deactivated. It's not there. Ken's Instagram is also gone, but Gypsy's Instagram with 1 million followers is still up. So what's going on? I don't know. This isn't the first time she's done this. It probably won't be the last time she's done this. So, okay, there's that. Now, let me get into some of this stuff. The first thing I want to show you guys is about how a documentary can sway public opinion in a case. And so I know a lot of you are hoping and praying that a new documentary will come out and address all of this new evidence. And at this point, and as I've said before, I am not allowed to speak about that at this point. Okay. That's all I can say. All right. But I am continuing to work on this. And so I'll just leave it at that for right now. Okay. But if a new documentary was to come out, what type of things would you guys want to see in it? And do you think that, like what I'm leaning towards, the walking issue and the motive might be two of the big things that people will need to see? Obviously, the micro deletion and all of that, right? Okay. Because a lot of people believed and still believe, although it has changed a lot. I want to say this: when Gypsy first got out of prison, she was celebrated, and that is no longer the case. Now, I'm not saying the public at large knows all of the things that you and I, or people that have been watching my channel. No, I don't think that's the vast majority of people, but there has been a sea change. You see it in comment sections, okay? You see even the Daily Mail at one point is kind of turned on Gypsy. So the mainstream media is starting to see it. But as far as people totally understanding that Dee Dee did not have Munchausen and that Gypsy was truly ill, no, I don't believe that the vast majority of the public know that yet. So that is why I believe the motive must be tackled and explained, how that got all screwed up, how Gypsy was either fed this well, I believe she was fed the motive, of the Munchausen, and she went along with it, right? And that's why it wasn't until she got out of prison that she even admitted that she had this chromosomal disorder. Prior to her getting out of prison, there is like Rod in a video, right? Like from Mommy Dead and Dearest, talking about how Dee Dee told him Gypsy had a chromosomal disorder when she was very little, because that's what the doctors told Dee Dee. Now, I don't know I don't even know if Rod and Christy knew about the microdeletion at the time of Gypsy's arrest or while they were building her defense. I'm not sure. Like I said, I have no idea if they came across the diagnostic papers in her medical records and saw that diagnosis and said, "Wait a minute. I don't know. I don't think so." I don't know if they had met. I don't think they had met. I'm pretty sure the prosecution didn't go know that at all, and didn't have, based on what Sheriff Arnott said, had no idea. They didn't have a medical expert go over the medical records. Hell, they didn't even look at all the videos between Gypsy and Nick, the prosecution. Why? Because when Gypsy walked into that courtroom that first time when she was being arraigned, the mere fact she was walking shocked everyone. It was shocking. Okay. And so when you see someone walking who you thought was paralyzed, and then you hear, oh, the mom had Munchausen, the mom was making her stay in the wheelchair, then you're going to assume that Gypsy's 100% healthy, especially when Gypsy says, "I'm 100% healthy" in different documentaries. It's just assumed. The visual of her walking was powerful in scripting this narrative, okay? So that's why I focused on the wheelchair in my life. And now I'm going to begin to focus on the motive. All right. But before I get to that, I want to show you this one example of how a documentary can totally paint someone a certain way. And that person that was painted a certain way was not only Gypsy, but Nicholas Godejohn, her co defendant. All right. Let's take a look at this video. So this is when the prosecution is presenting evidence against Gypsy, is the first part of this, okay? Of course, Gypsy had been telling Rod and Christy up to this point that she was innocent, that, I'm a good girl, and their jailhouse phone calls, and I'm going to get into that on my live on Thursday. You're not going to want to miss it because I've put together kind of a timeline on that too that I've never done before, and I want you guys to take a look at it, okay? Okay. This is when she looks back at them because she knows they don't know that she was the mastermind, that she has told them, I don't know what happened, he just came and murdered my mom, and right? And then she's looking back because they're going to know. This is the hearing where they're going to find out.
State's Exhibit 53. Ask if you can tell me what that is.
Ms. Blanchard is charged with murder in the first degree. When you commit a first-degree murder,
Now, I want you to listen to what this is the prosecutor. This is the man, Dan Patterson, whose decision it was to give Gypsy her plea deal. So let's listen to how he explains how he was able to let this woman out in 10 years when the vast majority, 99.9% of the cases like this, the person in Gypsy's role is in prison for life.
you knowingly caused the death of another person after deliberation.
Analysis of cell phones provided evidence of numerous text messages between Gypsy Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn.
Nicholas Godejohn was someone that Gypsy Blanchard met online.
Okay, I'm pausing for copyright because I don't want to get this stuff cut out. Okay. So here Dan is going to recount kind of how he has to come off here, guys. He has to come off tough on crime. Like, I'm not totally excusing her, but the main focus is Nicholas Godejohn as being the bad guy. Okay. And they want to paint Gypsy in a sympathetic role while not excusing her behavior totally. That is how Dan must come off.
They began a online dating relationship.
During the text, the two discussed Nicholas killing Claudine.
Now, here's the part where I want you to see how this documentary, I think this is Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, was able to paint Nick in this light. And then I'm going to show you the truth of the matter, okay? Because documentaries can, even though they're called documentaries, this one and ones that were made about Gypsy were very propaganda-like, right? On her side. So watch this. They're showing some of the text messages here. So Gypsy, I'm going to turn off the sound. Gypsy's text, this is what they show. They show that Gypsy texts, the shit's going to go down tonight. And then right away, they show that that after Gypsy says that Nick says this, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. You see that? It's hard to see the bottom of it, but yeah. And I paused it here because I was like, whoa, when I discovered this, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. So then, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. So what they're showing you is you think that Gypsy said the shit's going to go down tonight. And you think Nick responded to that text by saying, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. Right? The picture they're trying to paint here is Gypsy saying, man, the shit is going to go down tonight, man. And Nick's like, you're right, babe. You're right. The shit is going down tonight and it's my evil side doing it. Right? That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Okay. And then what do they show? And then it shows Gypsy saying, we'll be happy soon after this night. We'll never bring it up. Okay. So Is that really what happened? Is that what happened? No. No. In fact, if you go back to my live, and I hadn't seen this before my live, I pointed to this example, this very statement, the shit's going to go down tonight by Gypsy. And Nick's response to that as showing how vulnerable he was and how he didn't understand what Gypsy was talking about. Here's those texts. On the very right-hand corner there, you see where Gypsy texts at 7:31 a.m., the shit's going to go down tonight. Ruby, and then Ruby something, right? In response to that, go down to the left where it says 7:32 a.m. And Nick responds to that by saying, "What does she mean by that, dear?" When he doesn't get a response to "What does she mean by that, dear?" a couple minutes later, he then texts her, "Please let me know as soon as you can." So what's going on here? Gypsy says Ruby says the shit's gonna, oh, she said Ruby said that's right. That's what it says at the end. The shit's gonna go down tonight, Ruby said. And then Nick says, "What does she mean by that, dear?" When she doesn't respond, he comes back with, "Please let me know as soon as possible, hon." He is like anxious. What do you mean Ruby's saying the shit's gonna go down tonight? What does that mean? Well, you and I know what that means because we're not level 2 autistic. But Nick not only didn't understand what she was trying to convey that Ruby was trying to say, which was she mentions Ruby. Why does she mention Ruby? Well, Ruby was created 2 weeks before the murder as Gypsy's most evil side. And that Nick, she instructed Nick to match that evil side so that he could do the murder. Nick needed to match her evil side of Ruby, her most evil character, right? So that he could do the murder. So Ruby's saying something, and Nick's like, "Well, why is Ruby? That's why she's mentioning Ruby. It's not Gypsy saying it; it's Ruby saying it to Nick." So then what happens? Well, according to the documentary, not only does Nick understand that statement, he tells her, "Babe, it's my evil side doing it," right? Like he's all in. Do you see how wrong that is? Instead of showing that this guy is level 2 autistic, which I don't think they mention at all in the documentary, and that he didn't know what that meant. He didn't know why Ruby was saying that. So here's the truth of what happens next. Gypsy says, left-hand corner, "It means it all happens tonight." She says at 7:38. Okay. Then at 7:39, Nick says, "How does Ruby feel about it, hun?" He's still now inquiring about how does Ruby feel about it. And she responds, left-hand side corner, 7:39, "She keeps me numb in order to cope and survive, hun." Okay. And then she adds, right next over, "It keeps me focused." Now, top in the middle, defendant, which is Nick, says, "Okay, dear, I guess she seems to be learning how to deal with him slowly." He's talking about his most evil side, that's Victor, that's supposedly doing this murder, right? Then when Nick doesn't really respond to anything about the shit's going to go down tonight, Gypsy being a little anxious about it because she really wants him to do it, right? She says to him then, for motivation's sake, top right-hand corner, "For motivation's sake, bring your A game, hon. This is life with me on the line." And that's at 7:41 a.m. And to that, that's when only after that at 7:43, right below that, that is when Nick makes this statement. This was the big thing they even used in his trial to say, see, he's the one that really wanted to do it. So after Gypsy says the shit's gonna go down tonight, and Nick is like all perplexed and anxious. What does that mean? I don't understand. What does that mean? Blah 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 blah. Then Gypsy reiterates even a different statement, trying to coax him, trying to pump him up, so to speak, to do the murder. For motivation's sake, bring your A game. This is life with me on the line. And only then does he say, babe, don't worry, kind of like, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. So he's saying that to alleviate her saying, bring your A game. And he's a man, right? He's a man. Don't worry, babe. I'm the man. I'm the dude. It's my evil side. My evil side's got this. He doesn't understand social cues. It's why he tries to get her to explain things to him. And then when he understands, she says, bring your A game. It's life with me on the line. He's the knight in shining armor to her, right? And only then does he say this, it's my evil side. But they use that against him. I'm not saying he didn't do it, because he did do it. But circumstances matter in cases, right? The situation around the crime matters, because that becomes the either mitigating circumstances or not. And so in that documentary, they wanted to show it. Let me just show you once again how they wanted you, how they portrayed it to the public. And I watched that documentary. Maybe you did too at that time. Probably don't remember exactly seeing this text exchange on the screen when you were watching it. But rest assured, what that was meant to do was meant to let you know that Nick fully understood it and that he was the one driving this crime. All right. Bring it up real quick. Let me just back it up. Here it is. The shit's going to go down tonight. And then what do they show? They show him just saying, babe, it's my evil side. You see? Hold on. It's going to get a little bit bigger. Is that fair? Is that a fair way to do this? Is that being fair? No, I say no, it's not. Because that text exchange, what happened after the shit's going to go down tonight, told me a lot about Nick and about his understanding and about who was in control and how much he wanted to please her and how she used Ruby and these characters to get him into this evil side of him to do this crime. Okay. So I wanted to point that out. I thought it was very, very important, especially if there's going to be documentaries made about something. You want them to be truthful and you want them to be honest and you want to know the full context. Yeah, can they show everything about a case? No, you can't show everything, but you want the context of what they're trying to show the public to be fair and accurate, right? Okay, that wasn't fair and accurate. All right. Now, I want to show you guys some other things I promised from my live stream. We were talking about Gypsy being in the wheelchair, and I was saying that I'm not going to go over all of it, what I was saying, but that basically the problems were that this motorcycle accident is what she blamed being in the wheelchair, that her mother but she got into this motorcycle accident with her grandfather, and that at the time, her mother used that as an excuse to first give her a walker and then put a brace on her leg and then on her right knee, and then she was in a wheelchair. And I couldn't find that in the medical records. What they were in a car crash, but at the same time they were in this car crash, Gypsy was having issues walking before that, and she was being worked up by a very specialized neurologist whose specialty was in chromosomal disorders. And that is what led me to believe that it had nothing to do with any accident, that these things were already going on. The other reason I believe that was because we went over this little girl, Iris, who has the same exact microdeletion as Gypsy. And funnily enough, this little girl has the same exact almost symptomology as Gypsy. What am I talking about? People that have certain chromosome deletions, even if they're the same exact one, like this one Gypsy has, is called 1q21.1. Okay. Under that umbrella, if you get diagnosed with that, people have differing symptoms, even though it's the same microdeletion, because it depends on where the micro deletion of this falls on the chromosome. And I don't fully understand it, okay? Because I'm not that smart and I'm not a geneticist, and it's not, anything I came across in my nursing career. But what I can tell you is that little Iris, as I talked about on my live stream, is manifesting the same things as Gypsy. She had the feeding issues. She had the GI issues. She had the eye and hearing issues. Okay. And the other thing this little girl had, gait issues, walking issues. And I want to remind you guys, or it may be new for you, depending on how long you've been watching my channel, of this video clip of Gypsy when she's about 5 years old. There's been a lot of speculation on this.
And this is unfair. Why couldn't...
Okay, let me fast forward it here. It's this part of it. Okay, I'm turning the sound off. This is Gypsy when she's about 5 years old, she's in a complete cheerleading outfit. She's part of this little cheerleading group. And you're going to watch, many of you have already seen this a lot of times, but let's take another look at this through a different lens, so to speak. All the other kids are doing it correctly. And kids, if you have kids, when there's other kids around and they're doing something like this, they want to be doing it the right way. Kids at this age want to try to do things the right way. Except Gypsy is rolling around on the ground here. And she looks confused. And she doesn't get up. And her mom is talking to her. Now, there's other things that happen here. There's another little part of this. Don't get me started on this guy, Bobby Petrie. That'll be later, probably. There she is there. Now, I've said before, is this behavioral? Is this physical? Is this both? I'm thinking it's both. But now that I've seen the tests that Gypsy underwent by that specialized doctor, the specialized neurologist who did a complete workup, test after test after test of Gypsy, as it relates, what was the cause of him doing this test? Bilateral leg weakness was his diagnosis. Was she having problems walking starting around 5 years old? I'm going to say yes. I believe she probably got tired, that she was having gait issues. Okay. Now there's another little clip here that's coming up also where she falls over in the kitchen. It's performative. She's not falling over like she's passing out because she breaks her own fall. I don't know. Is it in this one? I think it is. If not, maybe not. Pretty sure it was in this one. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess not. Okay, there's another one where she's in the kitchen and she falls over. I'll have it on my live, and I wanted to go over that one too. And she's around the same age, and little Iris had the same issues. So, is this what happened as she got older? Did she kind of outgrow it, and did she maybe not need the wheelchair at a certain age? Probably. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the feeding tube. The point is she did need it probably. I now, and I was never on this side of it before, that she was having issues with walking around starting at around 5 years old. And she gets a walker first, which tells me there's something going on there. This isn't about an accident. Then you see her in the right knee brace, and that's from the car accident. Okay. That has nothing to do with the walking issues. It's just that all of these things happened at the same time. And so it made it convenient for her defense team to be able to cherry pick this so called motorcycle accident and the car accident. They both happened around the same time as all of this testing was going on in the hospital. So instead of pointing to the testing going on in the hospital as, wait a minute, what's going on here with this bilateral leg weakness? Her defense team smartly, they're defending her smartly, pointed to the motorcycle accident as that's what Dee Dee used to forcibly put her in a wheelchair. Okay, that was my point. Now, I want to get to a little bit of the motive thing that's going to be a problem for Gypsy as more and more people come to find out about all of the evidence we now have in this case. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at this from her 60-minute Australia interview. Let me bring this up. Hold on. Okay, before we get to that clip, I want to show this clip first.
This is, sorry, I didn't realize they were going to bring you out immediately. Okay, this is the new charge, Class A felony of murder
This is her taking the plea deal.
in the second degree, and that acting in concert with another knowingly caused the death of your mother by stabbing her. Okay.
So this is about a year after that first clip I showed you where she had the really short hair and she's really embarrassed and she's looking back at Rod and Christy now. Now this is about a year later where the DA has offered this plea deal.
This is in the case of State of Missouri versus Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Gypsy Blanchard.
And how old are you?
I'm going to be 25 years old at 24.
And how far did you go in school?
About the second grade.
Okay, now we know that now she says here second grade, just as just a tidbit, just to add on. Of course, this is another one of the many inconsistencies in some interviews. She says she's had no schooling. In other interviews, she said to kindergarten. And here she says to second grade.
How do you plead to the Class A felony of murder in the second degree?
Guilty.
The court finds that there is a factual basis for a plea of guilty. The court accepts the defendant's plea of guilty and finds the defendant guilty thereof beyond a reasonable doubt. She's to be sentenced to 10 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections. She'll have to do 85% of her sentence before she's eligible for parole. Let's go off the record.
Now let's watch this.
There you are.
Here comes her attorney, Mike Stanfield, who has done an excellent job. And the prosecutor believed everything he told him, hook, line, and sinker, and really didn't do his job and deep dive the case.
This case is unusual and extraordinary.
No, it's not. And that's the part I want to prove, that this is not an extraordinary case.
Gypsy Blanchard endured nearly 2
Now here, let's listen to the DA Patterson here, right? Again, you know how he has to come off tough on crime, but Gypsy, this poor little girl, she's a victim too, right? So he says Gypsy Blanchard endured nearly 2 decades
of systematic, purposeful abuse at the hands of her mother for the purpose of fraud.
For the purpose of fraud. Wow, you know what? Dee Dee wasn't a very good fraudster, okay? Because they weren't living in the lap of luxury or anything. And the few trips they did go on, it was all for Gypsy. Dee Dee wasn't jetting off to Vegas. She didn't have a great wardrobe or, fine things. She didn't have ever had a boyfriend, or she didn't have anything for herself, right? But she was doing this all for fraud, right? Yeah. Oh, God, come on. Come on.
And so by amending to murder in the second degree, we were able to both hold Gypsy Blanchard accountable for the murder, which was not justified nor excusable, but yet account for those mitigating circumstances.
But account for those mitigating circumstances. What are the mitigating circumstances? The abuse, the alleged systematic abuse for many, many years. That's what caused, or this is what Dan Patterson is saying, why Gypsy got the sweet plea deal. Okay.
All of us involved are, it's relief. At the very beginning of this, there was the question of the death penalty on the table.
The death penalty on the table.
Ultimately, it's the best outcome for her. It's the best outcome for the state of Missouri. And
no, not for the state. But I understand you got to say that.
Ultimately, the right thing to do for everybody.
That one's in this pocket.
I mean, it's a murder. There's nothing we can do about that. So that has to be dealt with. But ultimately, when you look at the fact that at the end of that 8.5 years, that she's already done a year of that.
He's like saying, hey, at the end of this 8.5 years, and she's already done a year and a half in, she's only got like 7 years left. She's going to get out.
She'll be 32 years old. She'll be 3 years younger than I am right now. So, she will actually be able to enjoy just the world.
Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that, because this is stuff I'm going to be going over on my live stream on Thursday. I'm going to show you other clips of things and just how screwed up this got, especially when it comes to Gypsy. One other clip here.
She found me back within 4 hours of being
attention.
All right, hold on.
Financial gain.
her control.
Do you think the motivation was the attention or the financial gain, the free holidays, the free home?
I fully believe that the attention was the main cause of it. The financial was secondary.
So at what point did...
So she's saying that her mom medically abused her for attention first, for getting attention first, and secondarily for all that financial gain, which was nothing really. All the millions of dollars they made. Okay.
Did you make that decision that killing your mother was the only way that you could be free?
I want to say it was around the time that I felt like I had tried to exhaust all the options that I thought was available to me. So I ran away from home. She brought me back within 4 hours of being gone. She had chained me to a bed, and there was a lot of physical abuse for 2 weeks. So I felt like I had learned my lesson, that was not a route that I could take. And so then your survival mode starts to kick in, and you're like, okay, it's either her or me.
It's either her or me for what? What do you mean it's either, what does that mean in the way she's presenting it here, right? She's talking about there was so much abuse for 2 weeks.
What do I need to do to get out of here?
What do I need to get out of here?
And unfortunately, that was a thought in my head.
It's a sign of the desperation. I think you were such a, seemingly sweet young woman with having lived a very sheltered life.
Exactly.
That's where your mind went.
Exactly. Because it's not like I had a criminal record. It's not that I had a history of violence.
You didn't have a history of violence? Oh, okay. All right. So, of course, many of you guys know, of course, that Gypsy shot her mom with a BB gun. There was a history of violence, and it was Gypsy. It was Gypsy who had the history of violence, not Dee Dee. Okay. Of course, we've got Gypsy talking about it here.
When I shot my mother, I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, did I just do that? What did I just do? A couple of them hit her, a couple of them hit the wall, but the wounds were superficial.
No, they weren't. She had to go to the ER. She tried not to. Because she was constantly covering for Gypsy. She was not going to give her daughter up, okay? Even though she basically tried to kill her, because here Gypsy is going to admit that she thought it was a real gun. This is the clip where Gypsy admits she thought it was a real gun.
It barely grazed her. That's when I realized it was a BB gun.
That's when so after I shot her, I realized it was a BB gun.
And it made me feel relieved because I did not intend to kill her.
Thank God she said it was a BB gun because I really wasn't intending on killing her. So you're picking up what you think is a real gun and pointing it at someone and unloading it. But thank God it wasn't a real gun. Thank God it was a BB gun because I really, really, really wasn't intending on killing her. But then I do kill her like 2 years later. I mean, does that make sense to anyone that she wasn't intending on killing her here? And or think back to the blanket video for those of you that have seen the blanket video. I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, there's a video of Gypsy tearing up a blanket. This is after she's out of prison. This is just like last year. She is in a rage, a complete meltdown, and she is filming it. She's videoing herself in this rage. This is the kind of rage I say she was in when she picked up that BB gun. It was that kind of a rage. She has anger issues. And I don't want to hear about therapy she's getting because this was just like last year. She has uncontrollable anger issues. So who knows what kind of abuse Dee Dee endured? I don't know. I do know this. Dee Dee covered for her. I'll show you this. Bullet out, June 14th, 2011. Feeling a lot better. I have the best little nurse, Gyp. Then one day before that, they posted, warning, if a man approaches you in a Walmart parking lot and asks you for money, run. Gyp and I got robbed. Gyp is okay, very shaken up. Oh, I'm sure she was. And I got shot. Hope the police get him. So, Dee Dee didn't want to go to the hospital, obviously. She had to because the wounds weren't superficial. She needed to have them treated. It got to that point. Infection, I've got a diagram of it that I've gone on over before. And some of them were quite deep. So, yeah, history of violence, check. Yeah, you do. And like the blanket video shows us, I don't have to see any other video to know you're violent. You have violent tendencies that you can't control. All right. What else do I have before I go? Because I do have a couple of announcements. Yeah, I'm going to save the rest for the live stream because I really want to present it because the other stuff is kind of exciting that I found. And so I hope that you guys will, if you can't make the live stream, at least watch it on the replay. That's going to be Thursday, time to be announced. Please don't miss that. There will be other special things that I'll talk about during that live stream too. But before I go, the other thing that we're going to be doing in this channel, and we've been planning this for a while, is going over other cases. And the other case that I've already started to deep dive, and I'm going to make a video about right after this one, is about the Ohio case, this case. The defendants, these are the Sider family. If you don't know about this case, I hope you'll watch my video. It's very interesting. I'm going to be coming at it and bringing you guys information that a lot of the other news outlets haven't shown yet. This is the family of four. The older people are the parents to the younger guy there. That's Gary Sider Jr., the younger guy, and his wife, the younger woman there. And they had 16 kids between them. And it is a huge case. What I can show you is a couple of things. Yeah, you're going to want to watch my video if you're really interested in this case and or if you love true crime, because I'm going to be covering it. Look at this. Look at this picture of the mom and dad from 2018 to their mugshots. What happened to these people? What happened to these people within a few years, right? So this isn't like they were living like that forever. If you know, these kids were found in like this hoarder house, this horrific circumstances, right? And I'm going to go over all of that in the video that I'm making. Here's the mom. What happened to her? She's the blonde there. Yeah, before. And there's her mugshot. What is happening? It is a fascinating case. So yeah, I'm making that announcement that I'm going to be going over that. I did get into the Shirla case a little bit and the maternal instincts. So we've been wanting to do this for a while, so I will be going over that. But I wanted to end this video with one of the content creators that that does cover Gypsy a lot. And why I like this content creator is because, and I'm not going to give away her trauma, but her name's Mandie. This is her channel. And I've been watching her for as long as has been doing the Gypsy stuff. And I just wanted to recommend her to you guys. And I wanted to play you a little clip because I think Mandie summed up how a lot of us feel in this community that are wanting to see the public become more aware of the truth in the Gypsy case, right? So let me go ahead and let me bring up Mandie's what Mandie had to say.
I mean, what is the end game? The end game is to get her off of social media.
And Mandie's, this is in her video, and I'm going to have the link to her channel in my description box. I recommend, if you guys like good Gypsy content without the drama, and she does cover even the culture, what I call the cultural aspects, the people around Gypsy. I highly recommend you guys go check out her channel. But I listened to this yesterday, what she said, and just so that you know, Mandie comes at this from someone who is a trauma survivor. And that's her story to tell. I'm not going to tell it, but she is a trauma survivor. And that is why she is so passionate about this Gypsy case. And so she kind of went on here, and I appreciated what she said here about this. So let's take a listen.
So that younger kids quit glorifying her. People like you, Sheena, Bree, whoever's on that panel, Ken, and shame on you, Ken, for again, you're allowing your child to stay in a home who is unstable, violent, aggressive, and a convicted murderer. There's no excuse. And people calling it out are not trash. That's why they're doing this. But all of a sudden, Sheena has an epiphany, and now Gypsy's accounts are gone, and Ken's are gone. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. This was probably planned. I'll tell you what my end game is. My end game is she never makes one more dime off social media, off of products, off of sponsorships, off of podcasts, off of interviews, documentaries, nothing. And I'm going to leave the Dom and Davion's Law link once again in my video so that you guys, if you haven't signed it, go sign it so that no more Gypsy Roses can happen. Yes, it's got to go to state level first, but then it gets pushed to federal, and then that means nationwide. And that means Gypsy would never be able to profit off of her victim ever again. That's my end game. My other reasoning is that she quits taking our traumas and using them and our stories of trauma and twisting it and using them for herself.
So that is Mandie, and that was the part that to me really, hit home, because I know that a lot of people that, follow me and listen to me, you guys I've heard your trauma stories. You've written to me, and I think Mandie kind of put a voice to that for you, that this is what has compelled you to follow this case, stay on this case, and to follow through on this case, and that we all have a common goal here. I'm not a trauma survivor like that kind of a trauma, so I can't relate in that way. But when I heard Mandie say that, I thought, oh my gosh, she sounds so much like so many of you that have written to me, that have been in my comment section, that I thought you guys would appreciate that. And so I wanted to share that with you. And again, if you guys want to follow her, you can find her link in my description box. Okay. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I will be live on Thursday with more of this deep dive into the motive, how it works, how it got screwed up, and what needs to be seen in any kind of a documentary, anything that's made about this case in the future, right? Like what, and I want to hear from you. What do you think, needs to be seen? What are the main points to you that you wish the public at large knew about this case that just kind of like made you guys go, wow, yeah, um, the story needs to be updated, it needs to be retold, or so to speak. All right, guys, that's going to do it. And again, if you guys aren't interested in that Siders case, I will be making a video on it. So I hope you guys will join me. And one other announcement I forgot to make is that our members, we are going to be doing members only content. That doesn't mean I'm going to do anything that people, because I have a heart for people that can't afford memberships. Our memberships aren't, I think there's 3 levels. I think the lowest one is not super expensive, but it is super expensive if you're struggling. And I know that. And I've gotten emails from you guys saying, hey, I love your channel. Wish I could be a member, but I just can't afford it. And I would never hold back content from you because you're not a member to my channel. But I will be making members only content. So I just wanted to make that announcement. And we've never done that before, but it is something that I've wanted to provide to some of those people that are supporting us in that bigger way. And again, it won't be something, it's just going to be bonus material. Okay. And, after a while, I'll be able to also publish it, later down for everyone. But I wanted to give something to those of you that have stuck by me through thick and thin, and that are still wanting to see this project through. You guys have been helping out tremendously with the membership. So thank you so much for that. I thank you, and Mitch thanks you, and Keegan's and Maisie and everyone in this house thanks you from the bottom of our hearts. Also, I want to be going over comments on the live stream. I have a file on comments that I've been saving up, some great comments from the community members that I wanted to share with you guys too. So there's all that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Yeah, that'll do it for me. No Keekans again. Two videos in a row, no Keekans. I wonder if it's because it's hotter up here. I'm upstairs and it's hot, right? And she's downstairs. It's a little bit cooler. Probably that's why. All right, guys, I will see you on the next one. Becca Scoops out. Good night, guys.